There is one certain reality as a property investor, and that is we will be forced to overcome many challenges, to overcome much adversity throughout our journey. And my belief is that the easiest way to overcome these challenges is through education, understanding, and awareness. And one of the ways that has helped me overcome challenges is reading these amazing books. So in today's video, I'm going to break down the 10 books that every investor must read to ensure that they have a nice, easy, smooth journey to financial freedom. Now, I've never really been the biggest reader, but it is certainly a means to an end, and it has helped me become far more aware of how the investment world works, how my mind works, how we make decisions, how others make decisions. And all of this has really shaped the investor that I've become today and helped me learn more about the world that we live in. And, you know, these 10 books that I'm going through today have had a profound impact on my life, on the strategy that I've chosen to implement, and the way that I've chosen to operate in the world. And I really believe that all of these books are an absolute must read for anybody who's thinking about investing, whether it's property investing, trading the stock market, or anything in between. Because, you know, these aren't just about property investing. These aren't just about other things. It's just the books that have really helped me become the person that I am today. Now, the first one is Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Now, most investors have probably already read this book, and if you haven't, go out and purchase it today on Booktopia or Amazon, because it is the best book that you can read as an investor, as it changes your perspective and changes your understanding of assets and liabilities. Now, if you're somebody out there right now that's extremely passionate about property investing, has already read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but maybe you've got a partner that doesn't really enjoy it or doesn't understand property investing very well, because it's really difficult to execute this journey alone. You really need the support of your partner. They need to be on board with this journey to financial freedom and property investing. So I would highly recommend purchasing that book and giving it to them as a gift to read as well, because even if they don't like investing, they'll learn a lot from that particular book. Now, the second one is The Barefoot Investor by Scott Pape. I think a lot of Australians have read this book. Gives you a really good base level of understanding as to how to trade the stock market, how to set up your accounts in the best possible way so that you're maximizing your income and minimizing your expenses. I've implemented a lot of the things that Scott talks about in his book, The Barefoot Investor, and I recommend people going out there to read it so that you can understand how to implement these things into your life to take out the thought of having to do anything. Like, he just makes it so easy to automate your finances. The next two books are books that we talk about on almost every single video, in almost every single podcast, because they are the books that have helped us understand the 18.6-year real estate cycle. Now, the first one is The Secret Life of Real Estate and Banking by Phil Anderson. Can be a little bit more tricky to find, can be a little bit more expensive as well, but it is worth its weight in gold. So definitely purchase that if you haven't already done so. With that particular book, I recommend reading the last couple of chapters and then going back to the start of the book, as he rounds everything out at the end of the book, and it gives you an overarching idea of what this 18.6-year real estate cycle is. And you can go back to the beginning to look at the history to understand how this stuff works. And this has had the most profound impact on my investment decisions, on the markets that I've chosen to invest in, and the decisions that I've chosen to make at certain times throughout that cycle as well. Now, there's a second book out there called The Power in the Land by Fred Harrison. This is an amazing book as well that also talks about this 18.6-year real estate cycle in a different way. Fred is more of an author, where Phil is more of an economist. So it might be a little bit easier to digest The Power in the Land. I recommend getting both, because both of them are going to give you different perspectives and ideas about this longer term cycle, which will help you make better investment decisions in the future. Now, the next one that I've got on here is Principles by Ray Dalio. An amazing book about life, about investing, about business, about the principles that have shaped him to become one of the most successful business people in the world and arguably the most successful investor of all time. So his book goes into a lot of detail about the different situations that have arose in his life and how they've shaped the person that he's become today. Now, he has got decades of business and investing experience that shouldn't be taken lightheartedly. I recommend reading that book. He also does an amazing YouTube series, just Principles by Ray Dalio, where he goes into the different sections of these books and does some really cool animations about the ideas that he talks about in those different sections. He's also got another really great video on his YouTube channel at the moment called The Changing World Order. Really interesting stuff to think about, you know, the time that we're coming into at the moment. It's really fascinating to listen to the stuff and read the stuff from Ray Dalio and also listen and understand the stuff from Phil Anderson, because there's two cycles that these guys talk about converging at the same time right now. And if you don't want to get too emotional and caught up with everything that's going on around the world, read their books, understand what they're talking about, because it will help you understand why everything is happening right now, and that will help you make better decisions once again. Now, the sixth book is The Art of Happiness by Howard Cutler and the Dalai Lama. Absolutely amazing book. I know as investors, we can get very future focused. We can get extremely anxious. We can get caught in the planning and executing our strategy and forget about the finer things in life, or what we're actually doing this stuff for, which is to be happier, right? Like, we're investing for choices. We're investing to replace an income, to generate a passive income for life, because of the illusion that it's going to make us happier. Now, no destination is going to make you any happier. It's the journey. And this is what the art of happiness is about. It's the things that bring us happiness, the things that bring us joy. And the reality is most of these things are actually free. So if you want to be a happier person, if you want to stop getting so caught up in the future, then I highly recommend reading The Art of Happiness. But then a follow-on to The Art of Happiness, another really good book to read, is The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari by Robin Sharma. Now, this book is about a guy who was living that corporate life over in New York, had the good job, the high income, the great family, the flashy car, went on nice holidays, wore the beautiful suit, had the nice watch. He went down that path of more is better. And he just wanted to continue increasing his income, increasing his net worth, but he was just working like a dog nonstop, and everything in his life started crumbling down. His health went out the window, his relationships went out the window, his friends went out the window, and he just found himself extremely anxious and depressed and not happy at all. So what this guy did is he got out of America, quit his job, went over to India, and went and lived in a monastery for a couple of years and learnt the ways of the monk. He became more aware within himself. He became more mindful. He started to realize that material things aren't going to make him any happier, that the only place that he's going to find happiness is within himself. And it's really good growing up in a Western society that puts so much value on these material objects that we just constantly chase these things, constantly chasing more and more and more. We're on that hamster wheel, the rat race of just chasing the person in front of us, but these things don't actually bring us happiness. We have everything that we need to make us happy, which is up here right now. And these two books will help you understand your mind a little bit better. It will help you understand the value of meditation so that you can also be aware of the emotions to make the right decisions as these challenges show themselves throughout the years. Now, the eighth book that I want to talk about is an Australian property investment specific book called Mastering the Australian Housing Market by John Lindeman. Now, this is the best Australian specific investment book out there because it's non-biased. Unfortunately, so many authors, so many people that choose to write books have an opinion or an incentive, and they're trying to push you down one path. Now, John takes a really non-biased approach and just gives you the history, just gives you the evidence as to how Australian assets, how the certain Australian property markets have performed over time, which will help frame your decisions as opposed to just going out there and buying any old property. This book will help you understand the assets that outperform the average over the longer period of time, which is very important. Now, this ninth book that I want to talk about is The Secrets of Power Negotiating by Roger Dawson. Oh, mate, one of my favorite books is this particular one from Roger Dawson, where he talks about just life is a negotiation, essentially. You know, trying to get your kids to brush their teeth, to get ready for school, to clean up their room, you know, trying to get your partner to commit to, you know, one restaurant over another when you're going out for dinner, to get that pay rise at work, to purchase a particular property, to, you know, deal with those negotiations with a building and pest report, with anything in life. We have to negotiate. And a lot of people run from the thoughts of negotiation because they feel as though they're not very good at it. But it is something that we all have to do. Kind of like cooking. We all need to eat in life. We all need to cook, but some of us don't like doing it. But if you can learn to love it, it makes everything so much easier. Same thing goes for negotiating. If you can learn to love it or just learn to do it, then it'll make your life a hell of a lot easier, because whether you like it or not, you're going to be negotiating for the rest of your life. And then the 10th investment book that I find is really awesome is The Buffett Way by Warren Buffett, which really just talks about value investing and, you know, gives you some different ideas. Now, he obviously is more of a stock market trader. You know, I don't know too much about that sort of stuff yet, but I want to learn. That's why I'm reading books like The Buffett Way to help me understand how that world works. But it is, you know, transferable to any investment class when we're talking about value. You know, you don't just go out there and buy anything because you can afford it. You're buying it because you want the best return on your investment over the longer period of time. And this idea of value investing, purchasing higher value opportunities, will end up compounding and putting you in a better position in the future. So they're some of the books that have absolutely, completely changed my life over the years and have framed me to become the person that I am today. And, you know, I have such a value for learning and growing and becoming a better version of myself, and reading great books from experienced people like these guys really helps. And it's all out there. You know, I listen to most of these books on Audible because I'm not a massive reader. I don't love it. So if you're not a huge reader, download Audible, download Blinkist. It's all out there for you right now. If you don't want to do that, listen to podcasts where these people have been talking on other people's podcasts about their books, about their ideas. You know, there's so many ways to educate yourself, to make better decisions. So I hope you guys have enjoyed today's video. Read all 10 of these books and you'll have a much easier journey to financial freedom. So thanks so much for tuning in, guys. Have a great day.
Woo!
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Getting cool,
spin.
bro. Yeah. Oh, sweaty. So sweaty. Oh, that's good. How is that?
That's my favorite one I say.
Oh.